You, sir, and or madam, are a liar. A liar to yourself. What's up, sugar junkies? Checking in on day 12 of my sugar sobriety. So today we're going to talk about a topic that is very near and dear to my heart. The lies that we tell ourselves as food, sugar, carb addicts. So let's get right into it. Number one, I'm not addicted to this stuff. I could quit anytime. I just don't want to. That's a very common one, and that's a common amongst all addicts. It doesn't matter if you're addicted to food, drugs, alcohol, smoking, you name it. Everyone does that. We rationalize a way around our addiction. We say, this is just something I'm doing because I like doing it. I don't have a problem. So what you need to do is you need to look around it and really self-evaluate. Take a hard look in the mirror. Do you have a problem? Maybe you don't, but maybe you're an addict. If your ability or your need to feed yourself, to binge on carbs and sugar, maybe late at night, maybe anytime, has gotten you into situations that you're embarrassed about, you're probably addicted, because you wouldn't do those things. You wouldn't put yourself in situations where you're embarrassing yourself, where you kind of lose your self-control. There's ways around this, but the first thing that you have to do is realize that you do have a problem and you are an addict. Lie number two, I know I'm an addict. I know I'm addicted to this stuff, but I will have one cheat day a week. I can't fully give it up. I have to have a little bit. If I don't have a little bit of moderation in my life, I'll go crazy. I just can't live without it. Which, that one cheat day, that one scoop of ice cream, that one piece of pie, that handful of cookies, whatever it may be for you. For me, I look up 2 months later, I'm 20 pounds heavier, and I wake up in the gutter with chocolate all over my face, not knowing how I got there. Not quite that extreme, but close to it. Once I start, I do not stop. Once those floodgates are open, I cannot quit. So for me, the only thing I can do is completely eliminate it from my life. What about you? For me, that's one of my biggest lies I tell myself. I'm just going to have a little cheat day and everything's going to be fine. I can't tell you how many times that has led to complete self-destruction. I am not a person who does well with moderation, at least with this. It's sort of like telling an alcoholic to have a beer once a week. Our brains do not work like that. Lie number three. This is one I told myself for quite a few years before I really figured out that all carbs trigger me. I said, I'm going to cut all the sugar out, but I just cannot live without bread. I have to have bread in my life in some capacity. In fact, I was talking on the sugar-free forum on Reddit with somebody, and they happened to mention that they can't cut bread out. And I was like, okay, well, that might work for you. That certainly does not work for me. Whether it's bread, whether it's a chocolate bar, the sugar is the sugar for me, and I will go after it with reckless abandon, but it'll trigger me and I cannot stop once I start. So unfortunately for me, bread has to be eliminated. Other people might be able to get away with it, but for me, a carb is a carb is a carb, and I am very addicted. And if, bread is like a gateway drug to worse things. So I just leave it alone. It took me a long time to learn that, though. Even when in the back of my head I knew it, I would convince myself that that wasn't the case. Lie number four. This is one of my worst and has probably led to some of my most serious weight gain. I have done it as, recently as a few weeks ago. It's a terrible, terrible lie that I tell myself. And I'm wondering if anyone else does the same. Have a great day. I don't eat bad the entire day. My morning is great. I have a healthy lunch. I get home from work. I have a reasonable dinner. And then at around 9:30 at night, I say, oh, you know what? We need bread. Not bread. We need milk. Or something along those lines. Like, oh, we're all out of bananas. I better get some for the morning. I convince myself that I have to go to the grocery store. 9:30 at night. And my intentions are completely pure, and I'm coming back with milk or bananas or something healthy. And surprisingly, it's shocking, but every time I do that, End up coming home with a giant bag of M&Ms, a box of really sugary cereal, some ice cream, baked goods from the bakery section of the grocery store. That's a killer for me. One of my favorites. And, I get home and I'm like, wait a minute, I went for milk. How did this happen? And I've convinced myself that I went to the grocery store for pure intentions, but I did not. I absolutely did not. That lizard brain in the back of my head is telling me, go get those carbs, man. Go get those carbs. And I guess I listen and I convince myself that that's not why I'm going. This has been something that I'm not kidding you, I will do that and I will gain just so much weight so quickly by doing this. It's the worst thing you can do. It doesn't have to be the grocery store. Once you're out, hey, I'm already out. I may as well get some fast food. Let's tack that on there too. I think you sort of get the point. I'm really curious about other people's stories when it comes to this because I know that I'm not the only one here. Which brings me to number 5, the biggest, most serious, most important, most damaging lie that we tell ourselves. It's after we've already screwed up. I've already ruined the day. I've eaten something bad, right? Say it could be halfway through the day. Maybe you've eaten something bad at lunchtime. Maybe you broke down and you had something sugary or something carby. What do? Do you say, hey, you know what? I messed up, but that's okay. There's a long day ahead of me. I can get this. I can right this ship. I can get on track. Not this guy. What does this guy do? Oh, I guess the day's ruined. I think I will have to stuff myself full of food all day. Just because the day is ruined, I'm going to start tomorrow. Tomorrow is the day. Today's already wrecked. So I think I'm going to go out. I'm going to load up on some fast food. I'm going to load up on some junk food and get it out of my system. I can't even say it with a straight face, but that's what I honestly tell myself. Suddenly, it's 3 months later, I'm 30 pounds heavier, and I don't know how I got there. But it happens. It's so damaging. It's so brutal. It's a cycle that you can fall into so quickly, and you'll look up and 6 months have passed, and you've been telling yourself the same thing. For me, it's like a vicious cycle. Every day I wake up, same thing. I mess up. I say, okay, this day's ruined, but tomorrow, but tomorrow, but tomorrow, but tomorrow. Start today. If I can tell you anything, there are all these silly lies that we tell ourselves. Again, we are all our own worst enemy. If you can jump over, the only hurdles that you have in front of you are the ones that you've set out for yourself. These are all hurdles. If you can learn to recognize these lies and get over these hurdles and stop these lies to yourself, you're already halfway to where you need to go. The most important thing you can do, if you're thinking about starting this tomorrow, if you're thinking about starting this next week, if you say, hey, I'm going to be ready to do this tomorrow. If you're ready to do this tomorrow, you're ready to do this today. So get on the bus. Start today. Cut them out. Get rid. Look yourself in the mirror and say, I'm ready to get rid of sugar and carbs. I can do this. I don't want to be an addict anymore. I want to put this in my rearview mirror. You can do it. Start today. Until next time, guys.